Hello, manifestors. So let's talk about living in the end and what it really means and what it doesn't. I learn a lot from your state of mind, from the questions you ask, and from the questions I'm getting, and the questions that I see out there. It is obvious that many people are saying they're living in the end, are talking about living in the end, but they're not living in the end. And the best way to know this is by the nature of the questions they are asking, you guys are asking. So this is why I wanted to make this video today. And guys, I want to add that this video will be useful only if you watch it all, because it's very complete, but it will make no sense if you just watch a little piece of it. Make sure you watch the whole thing to understand the point once and for all. And please be sure to like, subscribe, and click on the bell so you'll get all the notifications for all my videos, including my shorts. So the first thing that I would like to say, which I think really needs to be said, is that most people in this manifesting community are still way too entangled in the 3D. So you may hear or read that the 3D is an illusion, the 3D is a shadow or a shadow world, that the 3D is dead, that it's just a reflection of the imaginal world. But you are still very much entangled in it. So you hear those things, you read those things, but you do not quite believe it. I think that the best illustration to understand what the 3D world is, and that the mind, the consciousness is the only thing that exists, is to think about dreams when you sleep. I know we've all been in a very vivid dream, or even a very scary dream that we really believed that's what was real, that's what we were experiencing, until we woke up. When we woke up, we were like, oh, it was a dream. But you were so much in it that you may have woken up sweating or having your heart beating very fast, or feeling very bad about the dream, or maybe very good about the dream, depending on the dream. The reason you felt that way is that because when you were dreaming, you were in it. You really believed it was real. You were absolutely not aware of one thing, though, which is that you were simply sleeping in your bed. 3D reality is a whole lot like that. The only difference is it's that we are going to fully wake up from this dream when we leave this body. However, if we compare this dream to sleeping dream, there is another form of sleeping dream where you can control your dreams while you know you are sleeping, and it's called lucid dreaming. So when we become conscious of this law, when we become conscious manifestors, we can live life as a lucid dreamer in this dream of life. Meaning, we know we are dreaming because we are only going to fully wake up when we die, right? But we can control the dream, exactly like a lucid dreamer, and I've practiced lucid dreaming, so I know exactly how it works. When you practice lucid dreaming, you are still in the dream, you are still dreaming, but you know that you're dreaming, and the game is you learn how to control your dream as you're dreaming. By the way, practicing lucid dreaming is not the easiest thing to do, but if you want to play with it, it's going to help you to understand what you can do in the big dream if you practice lucid dreaming in your dreams. But that's a whole complete different video, and I may make a video on that topic later on at some point. But for now, I just wanted to make the point that dreaming as we sleep is very similar to this dream of life. And the reason I wanted to make this point is to help you see that this 3D world is not as real as you think it is, because many of you get stumbled when it comes to manifesting your desires because of that, because you think that this 3D is so real, but it is not. What happens is that you are still very much asleep, so you need to wake up. And that's what I'm intending with this video, to help you wake up a little more. Also, go back to specific things that you have manifested, wanted or unwanted. Go back to your mind. What were you entertaining in your mind over and over before that circumstance appeared? That too will help you understand how manifesting works. That the way it works is what you entertain in your mind, good, bad, neutral, good, bad, or indifferent, is manifesting in your outer world. I personally have traced back pretty much my whole life all the important and predominant events in my life, whether they were good or bad. Since I can remember, I have traced it back to my mind. So what does that mean? It means that if my mind had been set differently, well, my world would have been different. If you are not convinced of that to start with, you are going to struggle manifesting your desire, and you are going to make the huge mistake of looking at the shadow before you look at the thing that creates the shadow. And that's how a victim is created. This is why, like everybody else out there, or many people out there, I was a huge victim because I did not know what the heck I was doing. Like most people before we knew the law, right? And the point to know this law is that it's going to help you change your life. It's going to help you choose the reality that you want to live, because everything is created. Creation is finished. Everything already exists. And all you are doing is choosing what reality you want to live, what reality you want to experience. And then you might have a haha moment like this client of mine who allowed me to share what she shared with me this week. Sylviane, so much is clicking for me now. I have a deep understanding of who I am, and I finally understand what it means to go within. I think I just got into a deeper level of consciousness. I feel more relaxed in the knowing. I now feel I'm on a deep level that my desires are mine because the 3D isn't real. I know I'm repeating what you've said, but it feels so good finally understanding all of this on such a deep level. That's living in the end, guys. So why am I saying all this before we discuss living in the end and what it really means? Because I want to set the scene, so to speak. If you do not understand what I've just said, you may not understand the difference between living in the end and not. So that's why I had to start this video the way I did to get to the point. So, before we get into what living in the end is, let's talk about a few things that a lot of people are doing that are not living in the end. And if you're doing any of those, or a few of those, or all of them, you're not living in the end. It's better to know when you're not living in the end first, right? So you'll know what you have to remove and what you have to do in order to be in the feeling of living in the end. So, what living in the end is not? Reacting to the 3D is not living in the end. Feeling that you have to reach out if it's an SP you're manifesting. Or even if you want a job and you feel like you have to reach out to the employer, whatever it is, feeling that you have to reach out in the 3D to bring your desire to you is not living in the end. Feeling that you have to take actions to make it happen, which is very similar but can be a little bit different still. That is not living in the end. Counting time is definitely not living in the end. Looking for movement is not living in the end. Feeling that you're not doing enough or not doing it right, it's definitely not living in the end. And going to the past. So for example, if you are manifesting an ex and you have good memories of the past, and instead of going into your wish fulfilled, into your end, you're going to the past to feel good. This is a false sense of security, and it's not living in the end. And last, but definitely not least, and maybe the worst one of all, doing techniques over and over because you believe that if you stop doing the techniques, you're not going to manifest your desire. So guys, if you are doing any of those, you are not living in the end. And I know that may sound blunt and to the point, but that's how my videos usually are. When it comes to the techniques, guys, doing the techniques to feel, yes, right? To train yourself to feel that you are the person you want to be, that's a yes. But doing the techniques as something to do in order to get your desire, that's a no. Because automatically this state puts you in the state of not having your desire, of not being the person who has their desire. I hope that's clear. So finally, guys, we have arrived. Now that we've talked about everything that we needed to know before we really understand what it means to live in the end. What is living in the end? Truly living in the end. Well, living in the end of your wish fulfilled has nothing to do with your outer world. So, for example, for those who manifest an SP, and you want to pretend that SP is running some errands, for example, don't do that, please. Don't do that. That's law of attraction stuff. You do not pretend anything. You know why? Because living in the end is all done in imagination, in your inner world. And maybe until now, you've made all the mistakes that I've just mentioned because you do not understand what is your imagination. Your imagination creates your reality. And why does it do that? Because Neville said it very clearly. But again, as I mentioned in my last podcast, we hear those beautiful quotes from Neville and we're like, oh yeah, that sounds so nice, but we do not understand them. He said, God is in your imagination. In other words, that's where your power is. The power is not in the 3D world at all. I mean, what else do you want better than this? God is in your imagination. He never said God is in the shadow world, in the 3D. That's not where God is. And it's definitely not in the sky. So maybe, just maybe, the reason why you have not been able to manage to truly live in the end is because of that. You have not fully understood what your imagination is. You still believe that your imagination is make-believe, but it's not. Everything that you've ever experienced so far, whether or not you were conscious of it, was first imagined. And we do, as unconscious manifestors, we do imagine plenty of things that we are not even aware of. Number one, the human memory is very, very short. It has been proven that if you ask anyone what they were thinking 20 minutes ago, they would not be able to tell you. So you think you are going to remember everything that you've imagined, that manifested, and you thought, Oh, it just fell on my head. I never did that. I never thought that. Not true. Not true. You have, at some point, whether you recall it or not, imagined it. So instead of seeing your imagination, your imaginal world, as just imagination, see it as your inner reality. This is why we're saying imagination is not fake. It's just another reality. You have your outer reality called the 3D world, and you have your inner reality called imagination. So this is why when you truly live from within, the reality that you want to live, that you want to experience, that you want to feel, you have to live it, you have to experience it first in your inner reality. Once it's experienced in your inner reality, it will reflect in the world of shadows, in the 3D world, because that's law. And if you think, even for a minute, that your outer reality is more felt than your inner reality, then you've been fooling yourself your whole life. And I'm going to give you an example so you are going to see that what I'm saying is true. And this example is a true example that I've heard from the many clients that I have had so far, and me included. So let's say you have met the person of your dreams. You have this wonderful SP. And on the outer world, or in the outer world, everything was fine. You felt loved, you felt chosen, you felt very happy. But in your inner world, in your inner reality, you started feeling not good enough. You started having negative thoughts, so negative that they became fears. You started having huge fears from within about whatever. That had to do with your self-concept not being where it should have been, right? What reality was more real to you? After a while, maybe not at first, but after a while, your inner reality of insecurity was more real, felt more real than your outer world, where everything for the moment was fine. Now, if you tell me that this isn't true, then your life is probably great. You don't even need to listen or watch this video. But if you have been a client of mine or any other coaches out there at some point, you know that what I'm saying is true because you've been there and done that. So this is what I mean by understanding that your inner world is your inner reality, and it is not more fake than your outer reality. If anything, a lot of times, it's way more real. So guys, if so far you haven't been able to live in the end because you keep on thinking that this thing inside is not real, don't fool yourself anymore, any longer. Your inner world is actually your inner reality. And it is as real, if not more real, and as felt, if not more felt, than your outer 3D world. So, if you understand that you manifested the unwanted breakup, for example, because you were living in the end of your breakup before it was real in your 3D world, if you understand that, then you understand what living in the end means. Because what can be created in a negative way or unwanted way can be created in a positive wanted way. So this is what living in the end means. So you have the reversed scenario. You want a relationship. but you don't have one. You want to be wealthy, but you're not right now. You want to be healthy, but you're not right now in the 3D. What you need to do is be that which you want to be from within. So you have to train yourself to feel that you are the person that you want to be inside, regardless of what you are outside right now. So you can ask yourself questions such as, how would I feel right now if I was the person I want to be? How would I feel right now if I had my desire? And you answer those questions by feeling it. You feel it from within. You can start by sitting down somewhere, lying down somewhere, closing your eyes, and create that feeling while you are in a meditative state, for example, during SATS, state akin to sleep. But as you train yourself to be that person from within, to feel that from within, while you cut off the world of senses, as Neville said, the world of senses, the 3D world, has no business whatsoever in your imaginal world, right? So regardless of your current situation, you feel that you already are who you want to be. And you feel that as much as you can. Not just when you close your eyes, but as you go about your day. Do your best to feel that you are the person that you want to be. And it's an inner feeling, no matter what you're doing in the 3D currently. It's an inner feeling that you feel, and you train yourself to feel more and more. And as anything in this world, what we feel, what we do more and more, what we practice more and more, becomes easier and easier. And if you use techniques, that's all the techniques are for. Techniques are not a means to an end, meaning the technique doesn't manifest. It's your feeling that manifests. So when you use techniques to feel a certain way, that's what the techniques are for, to help you feel that which you want to feel. But once you can drop all the techniques because you feel that already on a daily basis, on a moment basis, you don't even need the techniques anymore. If you feel that you still need the techniques, it's because you're still not able to feel that for yourself. Basically, that's what it means if you still feel that you have to do techniques. But if you remember how you manifested the unwanted in your life before, you didn't need any technique, did you? Because you were able to feel a certain way that was completely contradicting your 3D reality, by the way, but you were able to feel differently inside. So it's the same thing. And guys, it's the exact same thing when you live in the end of your wish fulfilled. Regardless of your 3D current situation, you inside, in your inner reality, feel completely differently. Because inside, you know already that you are that person that you want to be. So to sum this up, to make sure that you truly live in the end. Number one, remember that your imagination is not just make-believe, not just imagination, but it's your inner reality. And to be in a specific inner reality, your 3D reality has no bearing. It doesn't matter what your 3D says, because you can be in a completely different inner reality. And when you maintain as much as you can, you don't have to be perfect, by the way, but when you are able to maintain that inner reality as much as you can, this is living in the end. And that does not include pretending anything in this 3D world. Don't pretend anything out there in the world of Caesar. Because living in the end is completely in your inner world. So that's it. I hope this video was helpful, guys. I know it's kind of long, but I think that everything that I said needed to be said to truly understand what living in the end is and what it isn't. So please let me know in the comment if this video was helpful. Please be sure to like it, subscribe. This helps this channel, which I am told by you guys that it's one of the best. So make sure you show it. Thank you for watching and see you next time.